Hello, welcome to Game 5 of the Cheap Thrills Winter Invitational, filmed in early February 2016. Legal sets this tournament up to Data and Destiny. This is the losers bracket semi-final between myself on the left playing Maxx and Simon on the right playing Gagarin. Simon's just lost to Charlie in the previous round, you would have seen, so whoever of us wins this will go on to face Charlie in the final. Simon's icing both of his centrals and taking a credit. So Count, Siphon and a Levy that Maxx has got rid of first term of our ID. A Count, Siphon in the bin isn't ideal, but a Levy in the bin is absolutely fine. So Simon is playing Gagarin. Gagarin, when it first came out, was quite popular as a kill deck, but over the past few months, it's become really popular for asset spam, especially with Tour Guide now making for a really horrible dual sentry unless you've got Parasites or something like Shrike or a Switchblade. Liberated accounts installed for myself there. And then just take some money off Liberated accounts to get the money back up. So Simon takes his start turn draw. So the Gagarin ID ability is every time you access a card on a remote server, the run has to pay 1 credit to access it. Which makes it really taxing. You can put out a lot of assets, just makes them all more expensive to get rid of, which is kind of annoying. The runner can't maintain the economy to do that throughout the game. If they stop checking, you can then try and sneak out some 3-for-2s, or there's also NAPDs in this deck, which are really annoying. There's Turtlebacks there. So Turtlebacks is a really good card in asset decks. Getting a credit every time you create a new server, which means you can just install the assets in your deck, as Simon's doing there, and make money from it at the same time, which is awesome. So it's a Femme Fatale and I think a Boxy there, which I've just milled through. Yeah, Boxy there. Simon's just checking that as well. So click one takes more money off the liberated accounts. I think I'm going to check one of these remotes now. So yeah, click 2, check out a remote, pay a credit to access. That's a Project Atlas. That's not a bad start. Simon just sort of testing the waters there, seeing if I'll be willing to check those, I guess. Check that other one. It's unlikely to be another agenda, but it's going to have a look and see what's there.
Click 3 to run this one, sorry. I'm paying 1 to access it. No, okay, that's cool.
Simon's telling me not to pay the credit just yet because he may do something. So is this executive boot camp possibly? Yeah, so it's executive boot camp. So instead of letting me access, Simon's going to elect to pay a credit and trash it to search for an asset and add it to HQ. Quite possibly a second Turtlebacks to really make that money start coming in. Yeah, it's a second copy of the Turtlebacks. So at that point, once that's installed and res, you're going to be getting 2 credits every time you create a server. So you can install 3 cards in a turn and gain 6 credits. That's not bad. Running the installed Turtlebacks, so pay to access that. Trash it. Don't mind you getting 1 credit for an install, not overly keen on getting 2. So, as you can see, Gagarin really is taxing. I'm already paying through money to trash these assets. Paying to even access them makes it even more annoying. Although I've started off right here, the liberated accounts, that money will start to dry up. I can't do this for the entire game. That's kind of what Gagarin relies on. You wait for the runner to sort of... You either get the tour guide if they haven't got an answer for it, or wait until they get to the point where they haven't got any kind of money, and you can just install something behind a small piece of ice, or even put an NAPD out on its own. If the runner can't generate money quickly, you can actually score an NAPD quite comfortably unprotected. So that's a Faust, and I think that was an immolation script. So day job for money there, which is a short-term answer to this continuing assets that are going to go out. Eater's my only real breaker that I'm running versus Tour Guide. That's pretty torrid unless I can afford to keep trashing the assets, which in the long run just isn't viable at all. A lot of people tend to think, I've actually been playing a ton of Gagarin recently, a lot of people tend to think Wizard's a really good matchup versus Gagarin, and surprisingly it's actually not that big a deal. Gagarin can just install more cards than Wizard can deal with per turn, even with his sort of 3 credits per turn that he gets to recur. They're only going to last for so long when you can install in 3 assets per turn. So Simon ices up a new server there, and then just takes some credits. So milling a Trope and a Wanton Destruction there, taking a card into hand. So I should possibly be testing the waters here actually and running the Central Ices just to either see if he's willing to res or to see if I can turn anything up off R&D. So take the last of the money off liberated accounts there. So I'm sat comfortable on 18 at the minute, but like I say, it's not going to last long versus Gagarin. Retrieval run into archives for the Trope, I'm guessing. Yeah, so I'll bring the Trope out. I can let that start counting down and recur in my deck. I really should be poking one of these Centrals. Yeah, run R&D. That's Elizabeth Mills. Gonna trash that. I can't even remember my own Maxx deck very well now, but I'm not actually too sure why I've trashed Elizabeth Mills. I don't think I'm running any locations in the deck, so it's not really a problem. There's turtlebacks there. Creating a new server to get the drip coming, and that new turtlebacks is protected on the last one, so that's possibly going to stay there for some time. As I say, with Eater as my only real breaker, I'm not really going to be getting to that. There's another install. So the Eater, Keyhole, Siphon, Spam type Maxx things that I'm running here, not particularly effective against Gagarin. If those are Tour Guides on either of the 2 Centrals, then it makes both Keyhole and Account Siphon pretty uneconomical. That was an immolation script, and the same old thing I think I milled to start the turn for Maxx's ID. And that's a card. Is that the Faust? Yeah, that's a Faust there, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so again, Faust versus Tour Guide, not at all economical. In fact, pretty much impossible to get through after a certain point. Running the R&D, no res from Simon. That's a Spiderweb off the top there. Spiderweb again, really good ice versus Faust. It's going to cost Faust 3 cards to break, which is really good. That's another executive boot camp accessing in the new remote. Gonna trash that. Just executive boot camp's a really nice way of resing ice at the start of turn, or any other assets you might have, like a pad campaign for instance. Which Simon reses anyway for 2. Spiderweb, Tour Guide, really good ice versus Faust actually. A lot of corps now teching against Faust with a lot of multi-sub ice. Stuff like Spiderweb, Tour Guide, Ichi 1.0 was really nice against Faust. Anything really that sits at sort of like 3 strength, 4 strength with multiple subs just beats the Faust David combo that a lot of Anarchs are running at the minute. So 2 Deja Vus milled from Maxx there. I guess that's a lol. So there's a DDoS sat in hand there. DDoS couldn't be handy in this match. I probably want to save it for the right times. From a DDoS in this match is that Simon's probably willing at the right moments in this game to install an agenda with a single eye, especially a tour guide if he can get set up in front of it. But you kind of need the DDoS element of surprise. So I've actually installed it and popped it immediately. And then I'm doing, same old thing, Siphon. So Simon's got the option of spending some of his money into those assets, which he's not going to do. So Simon drops 5 credits. I'm going to gain 10. That was alright for burst of money. I think possibly keeping the DDoS actually to allow me to run any scoreroom ropes he might try and set up would have been a smarter move. Running the pad campaign, paying 1 to access, and then trash that. So just trying to keep Simon's money low. Again, back at this time, I wasn't overly familiar with Gagarin. I've played it a ton myself since. I've taken it to store championships as well. Money's not really a problem in Gagarin. You don't need a lot to make the deck work. Between executive boot camps, resing stuff for cheap, pad campaigns that quite often stay out and runners-up wins trash, the Turtle Maxx and Melange, money's really not an issue. Probably better ways for me to use that DDoS, really. Simon, I think, click 1 draw. He's just having to think what he's going to do there. Yeah, so click 1 there, drawing a card. So second ice on HQ there, so that's now going to stop DDoS attacks. Again, maybe using that DDoS for the account siphon, giving away my hand a little bit. I mean, someone won't be surprised to see DDoS in my hand, but just having maybe given him the reminder there, not really ideal. Gagarin can sometimes be a little agenda heavy in hand at times. I'm going to run our HQ anyway and test this, so no res on the outer ice. Spider web would work right now, and that's what we got. So Simon spends the rest of his money to res the spider web. I don't think I'm going to Faust through that. No, so so bounce off that, install the keyhole, and now we get a couple of runs at the R&D. Simon can't res at the moment. Looks like a public support there. That's a good one to get rid of, just because it can end up costing me 5 in the future. So get rid of that. I don't really want him to be able to install and res that and me have to spend 5 to trash it later on. Best get rid of it now for free, and then I'm going to keyhole again, I imagine, while I've still got the chance. And the cards are just out of view. I'm taking a longer time to think about this one, so probably no agendas. No, okay, it's a hostile takeover there, so I'm not entirely sure what the thought process was in waiting there. That's a tech startup, which means Simon can go through and search for an for an asset and install it. I imagine that's going to be Melange now, which is one of the cool tricks you can do with this deck. So yes, the Melange goes in, he can res it thanks to the Turtleback credit, and then he can click that for a ton of money. So tech startup with Turtlebacks and Melange is a really nice way to get yourself out of a zero account siphon turn like that, or just someone we've spent money to res. Simon forgets it's the start of turn draw there, which is easy to do when you're doing stuff at end of turn like that. And then it's over to my turn again. I've milled 2 cards there. Didn't see what they were actually. It looks like it was a trope and something else. I think I put it on that far pile with that messy heap. So run the Melange, pay 1 to access, pay 1 to trash. yeah, don't really want Simon to be able to sit and click that for a few turns. If you do just ignore the melange in Gagarin, they can spend a couple of turns just clicking it for a ton of money, at which point they're set for the game. So keyhole run on R&D now. Going to force a res. Simon just thinking on that outer ice at the moment. Yeah, I think that's another spider web, yeah. Not the end of the world for Faust, especially in Maxx where you're getting a card draw. But am I going to be willing to spend 3 at the moment to get in there? Possibly. I'm not up to much else at the moment. No, I'm bouncing and then running archives to that hostile takeover. I would have liked to see what the other 2 cards were actually on that keyhole run. It took quite a while to choose what to get rid of. And if there's a gender in there, normally it's pretty straightforward. So maybe there was a Jackson or something similar. So Simon draws to start his turn there. Install with the tailback credit. Res a Jackson and use him. So Jackson again in Gagarin really nice because once the runner's spent money to get rid of your assets, you can just bring them back with Jackson. And now with Kalagoda and some of the Mumbad cycle coming out, Museum of History in Gagarin makes it all the more punishing. If you can get a Museum of History up and safe from the runner getting to, anything they do trash, it just comes straight back through again and is really depressing. So there's another remote created by Simon there. That's a DDoS and is that another immolation script? I don't know what I think of the immolation script actually in this deck. It felt like it was going to be useful and I don't think I've ever actually used it. Bit too situational. With keyhole it can be kind of useful because you can, if you see a piece of vice on a keyhole run that's somewhere else keeping you out, you can make use of it there, but in general not a great card. And we're just about now approaching what I like to call slog time in Gagarin.
Yes, no, that's fine, you go for it, yeah.
Which is when the runners had pretty comfortable start, they've been able to do things, and now it's reaching the point where the economy's starting to dry up. There's some taxing ice out. The tour guides aren't even up and online yet, but they will come at some point. And then the runner basically just starts headbutting off stuff because they've got nothing else they can do. Which I think actually pretty much sums up my memories of this game. I'm recording this commentary about 2 months after the game actually took place. I'm pretty sure this turns into just a really horrible, depressing slog for myself. Gagarin's well teched against Faust, very well teched against Eater. Yeah, just not great. Lots of multi-sub ice. So I've had worse there for the card draw. I'm pretty sure Simon's not on a kill threat, so that's the best way to use the card. And yeah, I kind of get the feeling I'm not really sure what I want to do right now. I'm a bit stuck for ideas. It's not even like I could try and tax Simon some money by trying to run that turtlebacks, but he's well aware that he doesn't have to res the ice because even if I get through, I can't afford to access the card and trash it, so that's just not going to work. Okay, so Wanton Destruction, it's not even click 1, so I'm not getting the maximum out of this. I'm not too sure what my thinking is here. Maybe I'm hoping Simon's sort of holding on to some agendas in hand. The only one we've seen so far is that Project Atlas, which he installed at the start of the game, turn 1. So maybe I think he's just holding on to them. Even if that's so, doing that next turn would have been a lot smarter, I think. So Simon just considering this outer ice and whether he's going to res. Yes, that's a Lotus Field. Again, Lotus Field's a really nice ice versus Faust. It's going to take 2 cards for Faust to break. Not the end of the world, but it's effective. It can't be David. Can't use a David count to get through that either. And the real bonus with Lotus Field a lot of the time is that you can't data sucker it. I'm just going to money up there, which basically means I am out of ideas. Clicking with credits, never a great sign. Discards and cards. Yeah, there goes the immolation script again. Probably pretty poor including this deck in retrospect. So Simon installs a new remote there. I'm not quite low enough on credits for him to try and bluff out NAPD. If I'm sat on something like 0 credits or 1 credit, then he can put an NAPD out knowing that I just can't get to it. Okay, so res the second turtlebacks there. That's costing 2 credits, but 1 install getting that money straight back. And I'm unlikely to go trashing those turtlebacks right now with my economic situation the way it is. So yeah, there's the install, which gets the 2 money back. Pass the turn, there's a trope counter. Deja Vu and a Liberated Accounts. That's all 3 Deja Vus I've managed to mill through, which is a little bit disappointing in Maxx. I would have liked those to take stuff out of my heap and get them back into hand. Sure gamble, so money ticking back up, but again that's going to be temporary. It's hard to keep your money high versus Gagarin. Going to run that new server and see what it is. That's another tech startup, I think. Deciding whether I'm going to trash that, which I'm going to elect to, yeah. It's worth getting rid of just so that Simon can't gives him less choice on what he's getting into his hand. Letting someone keep his tech startup is basically allowing them to cater their assets they've got installed, especially with public supports in his deck. He can quite happily throw all those out knowing it's going to cost me 5 credits.
Yeah, the 8th is what I was about to change if I do access.
Yeah, choosing to access again there. That's an Executive Boot Camp. Simon elects not to use the ability to trash it himself. And I'm just trying to decide whether I should get rid of this. Again, I think I probably should. Just anything that's letting Simon sort of cater his hand and sculpt it the way he wants. But no, I'm going to choose to leave that actually. So on this approximately 20-minute mark on the game, we're playing 40-minute rounds. Gagarin is a deck that can go long quite often. The Corp isn't in a massive rush to score out early on. There's no kind of rush element to the deck. Quite happy to play the long game. Even most runners, even once they are set up with their late game rigs, still not that effective versus Gagarin. So there's Executive Boot Camp. Lever University, sorry, which allows someone to search R&D for a piece of ice. I think if he does it, that's going to be a tour guide, which he can now set up to score behind with. That's going to be, 5 subs at the moment. Not something I'm likely to want to break with Faust. Yeah, so Simon's paying a credit there to use the Lever University. Pretty certain this is going to be a tour guide. Yeah, there's a tour guide. So tour guide is a sentry, 2 to res, 0 strength. And it will allow you... It gains a end the run for every installed asset, which is pretty nasty in this deck. So that was an eater and a spoon there. It was one of the cutler. I think that's spooned.
Fortress barrier. No, it's sentry, sorry, yeah. Click 1. Spooned on HQ.
Okay, so I says spooned on HQ.
Yes.
To try and get rid of that Lotus Field.
Keyhole for strength.
So there's 1 card for strength. Fem to break it. Now get rid of that. Then I'm gonna bounce off the spider web.
2.
See, this is the sort of situation Gagarin can put a runner into where the runner doesn't really have a lot of options, isn't sure what to do. I spooned that. I'm not really overly sure why. It might open me up for a few more siphon plays, but Simon hasn't been running heavy on cash. Okay, going to check that new remote and see what it is. Paying a credit. It's a public support. I'm electing to leave it there. I can't afford to get rid of it, sadly. The more annoying thing is that Simon can res it in the future. I'm going to have to pay to see it again and to trash it or give him a point. Public supporting Gagarin is absolutely fantastic. Really makes the deck tick over. Telling the runner they have to spend 5 credits or give you a point is fantastic. Simon creates a new rope, getting the 2 turtlebacks, installs a piece of ice on HQ, costing 1, and then just takes a credit back. That's probably why those tour guides has gone on HQ, which pretty much shuts off HQ for the game. I'm not going to be getting in there anymore. I think, to be honest, looking at the game the way it's going, what I should really be doing is trying to hammer the keyhole on R&D to either force the res of that inner ice or just to try and get some points while the opportunity's still there. It's going to cost me 3 cards with Faust to get through, but if I don't do that, I mean, I know that the tour guides are in his hand. They're going to end up protecting something, and they're something I'm never going to be able to break realistically. So I really should be just taking the keyhole opportunity while I've got it there. Even just if I can get in once per turn to get C3 cards and trash one, it's probably my best chance at agenda right now. So Simon clicking Jackson there for 2 cards. I imagine Simon would be relatively happy to find an agenda right now. He's got at least 1 tour guide in hand, maybe 2, depending on what that ice was that went on HQ. So that's a new remote going there, which will be 2 credits, and another new remote for a total of 4 credits. So Sure Gamble and DDoS. There's tons of counters on that trope now. I think it's 10 counters on the trope actually right now. The deck looking really small, so there's a ton of stuff to be doing. Yeah, I think I'm firing it now. So removing trope from the game for a click, I'm going to get to shuffle cards back into my stack, equal to the number of tokens that were on the trope there, which I think was 10. So there's a trope going back in. Probably going to have to get some money back in as well. Same old thing, DDoS. DDoS is going to be handy. I need to get rid of the executive boot camp. If I get rid of the executive boot camp, and we'll have to double ice any remotes he wants to try and score out of. Deja Vu going back in as well. Probably should be putting all the Deja Vus in. I seem to have gone past fears. The same old thing. Yeah, another DDoS. Another trope. And I think the Boxy is going to go in as well. I'm not sure the Boxy is a great idea, to be honest. Even with the increased hand size, I'm not going to get enough hand size to get through any of these tour guides. Elected against the Boxy, actually, I think, in the end. Awkwardly, though, I've just handed my deck to Charlie, asked if he could shuffle it so we can get on with the game, and called him a sweetheart, which is kind of awkward, but I don't think he's too bothered. There's an eater. I don't know what I'm thinking there again, because if this is a tour guide, I'm not going to pay to get through it. It's a keyhole at the minute. Yeah, okay. So now Simon's shown he's not willing to res at inner ice. I should probably hammer keyhole for this turn reach to try and see what I can get. There's a Jackson. That's handy because it's one less card he can get back with his Jacksons. Yeah, keyhole again. Pay for the spider web. And there's an archer. That's a good one to get rid of, especially with the public support. Simon's always going to be happy to res an archer and sack a public support for it. Using the executive boot camp there to res the tour guide for 1. That's HQ protected for the rest of the game now. I'm not going to get in through that via Eater or especially via Faust. So it's currently on 6 subs. He could res some of those cards at the end there if he wanted to at some point to make it even more Yeah, really fantastic. I don't think I've got any parasites actually in the deck, so that pretty much means tour guide's protected and safe. I could do a horribly expensive cutlery run for a tour guide, but that doesn't seem practical at any point. So Simon's just iced up and created a new server there. I suspect he might be going to score behind this now. Okay, resing another public support. So I think I've elected to leave those public supports. It's going to take my entire turn to pretty much to get into that, the 1 counter 1, and then it means I let him take the second one anyway, so I'm not going to get the money back up in time to do that as well, most likely. I'm probably hoping ideally to keep keyholing, but Simon's got money now, more money had in the previous turn, so possibly could res that inner ice. That's a liberated counter, same old thing, gone into the heap. Do the keyhole. Let's test what that inner ice is and see if Simon's willing to res it. If he doesn't, it might give me a scoring opportunity. Although he does have a Jackson installed, which I'm aware of. So we've seen 1 Jackson in the bin, 1 on the field. There could quite possibly be a third sat in one of those remotes as well. You can just leave it there, sat waiting for when you need it. And especially with Turtlebacks giving you the money for installing it. Yeah, I'm just moneying up this turn, I think. Which is going to score that public support. Res the second tour guide with the executive boot camp. That was really silly, but I really should have tried to give that executive boot camp, I think, because that's probably giving him the game now. He can just install and score behind that tour guide pretty comfortably now at this point. Eater's no good getting through it. Faust is going to be very expensive getting through it. So it cost me, if I was to run through the tour guide now with Faust, it cost me 6 cards. But with all those other face down cards, someone could quite happily res someone, make it quite literally impossible for me to get through, even if I was to draw 3 clicks. Yeah, not trashing that executive boot camps probably cost me whatever chance I had of winning the game at that point. And there's a second ice there as well now. If that is a second tour guide, then that's LOL City. Yeah, I've got my head in my hands there. I think I've probably just realised that this game has definitely gone away from me now. Can I salvage anything out? There's not a lot of time left on the clock. Simon's likely to be scoring something that next turn, so he's likely to go up to 3 points, which matches myself, so I should probably try and get something. Yeah, I'm going to trash that public support to prevent him getting that extra point. I'm probably well aware now actually that it could come down to points, so I need to at least try and keep him tied if I can. So the executive boot camp's going to res the team sponsorship for free. That's even more depressing, because now when he scores this agenda, he's going to get to install something. He'll install 2 things, get the Turtleback credits for them, and if the game wasn't already gone, now it's definitely gone. So yeah, there goes a public support, getting him 2 credits. There goes another public support, getting him another 2 credits.
That was public support.
There was 2 face up for public support.
They were both public support, yeah.
Yeah, we both know that.
Yeah. So he's just scored 2 points, installed 2 cards, and gained 4 credits. That's a pretty good turn. To score an agenda and end a turn with more points than you started with is pretty impressive. That's Oaktown without the Oaktown. And you've put a really nasty scoring pressure on the runner there, because you know they've got the 2 public supports. I can't leave them there, but I equally can't afford to go and trash them. Looking at my hand, seeing if I've got a miracle answer somewhere. I don't.
Click 1, run R&D.
So
Deja vu.
running R&D.
Running R&D already.
Simon confirms that am I keyholing or running? I say that I am running. I think I'm just desperate to score something without the Jackson stopping me essentially. Simon's just checking how thin the deck is right now to work out gender density. He's not going to do thin. So there's a hostile takeover. That's not going to be enough to win me the game. But it keeps me in it for a while.
Two same old thing. 3-4 levy.
Okay, so I'm doing same old thing, levy there. That's probably, well, I say probably, that's definitely a silly thing actually. This late in the game, I know there's only a few minutes left on the clock. I know I'm not getting in anywhere. I don't know what I really think I'm going to gain from that. Maybe just hoping for more cards to feed my Faust to 1 or 2 last runs on R&D. But with the Jackson on the table, I'm sure if I was to make another R&D run, Simon's probably popping that to lower the density. So Simon 2 clicks there to play interns, installing a card there, getting 2 credits. And there's an install in that server. With both the public sports online now and presumably, or almost certainly, an agenda in that server, the counter is on the game now.
Just run R&D.
Got to be run R&D, yeah. So pay 3 cards for the Faust. Simon's going to pop the Jackson, just thin out, add some more stuff to non-agendas to that R&D, just to prevent me from scoring anything as much as he can. It's an NAPD contract. Isn't that always the way? Yeah, take credits. That's game. So Simon's going to score out another Atlas there. Get the 2 team sponsorships, get a ton of money, and on the next turn, so I could try and win on my next turn. It's going to be pretty hard. Only 4 points at the moment. And Simon can just allow those team sponsorships to track down and get him his final 2 points to win the game. So there goes a day job, a Hades shard there I think, draw a card, run R&D, hope for some kind of minor miracle.
It's largely irrelevant, but run R&D anyway, I'll see what's there.
Run R&D, gonna see what's there. 3 cards to get through with Faust. Simon raises Lotus Field, and that's time as well at the same time. Actually, he's just gone off. So, and the next Simon's next turn. Those 2 public sports go tick down, give him the 7 points, and that's the win for Gagarin. So as I said, it just becomes a really horrible slog late game there. Ignoring the executive boot camp was a massive mistake, I think, in retrospect. But that's how it goes sometimes. So Simon will play Charlie in the final. We'll have that game soon.